We have waited a long time for this.
Here's LeBron. Look at that. You saw that coming.
After losing in the semi-finals of last year's World Cup to Germany, Team USA decided enough was enough. No more Austin Reeves, no more Bobby Portis, no more Walker Kessler. Instead, Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant have returned. And I don't care how old those guys are, when they step foot on the same basketball court, you will always be the underdog. And Canada are the first team to learn, it doesn't matter how big a lead you get against this team, you have to play perfect basketball to win. And even if you play perfect basketball, that still might not be enough. Because let me remind you guys, Stephen Curry and LeBron James are on the same team. And it didn't take long for LeBron to learn how to play with Steph. Watch him here setting the screen for Steph off the ball to get free for the jumper. And you saw why Stephen Curry is an absolute cheat code for Team USA. Because with the game only separated by 5 points entering the second half, Steph took over, hitting that three off the LeBron screen before 30 seconds later bringing the ball up the floor, losing SGA, and just doing Steph things. He wasn't finished cooking though, because with some help from Drew Holiday, he got an extra possession off his initial miss, and we all know giving Steph Curry 2 chances at a 3 is a death sentence. So in the span of just over a minute, a 5-point game was turned into a 13-point game, all from the hands of Steph Curry. And this right here is what I mean when I say you have to be perfect to beat Team USA. And even still, that might not be enough, because this is a team with guys capable of turning a game on its head in a matter of minutes. This game it was Steph, but LeBron, Tatum, Booker, KD, and even Embiid, when he's not busy throwing elbows and fouling out, are all capable of dominating. And this was a game filled with good performances across the board. But in addition to Steph's third quarter, it was Anthony Edwards who backed up his comments from earlier in the week that everyone was criticizing him for.
I'm still the number one option. Yeah. I mean, y'all might look at it differently. I don't look at it differently.
Whether Ant is the first option or not, he put Team USA on his back early in the game when absolutely nothing was going right for them. Entering the game with the team trailing 12-4, having only scored 1 bucket in the first 6 minutes of action, Ant got to work.
Edwards double pump up the glass and in. I love him.
A minute later, it was the 2-man game with he and Bam. Watch him here turn that midi into a dime to the rolling Bam. And throughout the first half, Ant looked at home, which isn't particularly surprising considering he was the standout performer for the US in last year's World Cup. But he looked comfortable getting to any spot on the floor, taking those 1-dribble pull-up middies with ease, and even throwing in a buzzer-beater 3 at the end of the third quarter.
Edwards moving over to the point position. Takes a 3.
Not only did Ant back up his comments, but he left Steve Kerr with some tough decisions to make when it comes to the starting lineup. Because I think there are 3 players who are guaranteed to start: Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James. I know that's a crazy thing to say when they are the 3 oldest players on the team, but when you see how Steph and LeBron looked, plus Kevin Durant, who is the greatest US basketball player in Olympic history. Yes, he is. It's not even close either. Leading US in total points per game, and doing so on the best efficiency of anyone. So I don't know how you can argue against those 3 starting. Oh, also, it's Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, and LeBron James. You simply cannot bench those 3 guys. You just can't. But outside of those 3, you could make a strong argument for anyone at the 2 guard and 5. Because whilst I've heard a lot of people claim Joel Embiid is Team USA's best player, and he clearly was during the NBA regular season, it didn't look like it in this game, with Anthony Davis looking by far the most dominant big on the floor, dominating on the boards, whilst also providing that easy offense as a lob threat and roller, which is why AD might be a better fit to start. Because despite his reputation as someone made of glass or a half-hearted player, Anthony Davis is a hard-working big who also consistently makes an impact without needing the ball in his hands. Not to mention what he can do on the defensive side of the floor, because it was Anthony Davis who put an absolute lid on the basket for Canada whenever he was on the floor. Just look at this play where Shea is initially being guarded by Bam. The screen gets set, so he switched onto Anthony Davis. Guys, imagine setting a screen to switch onto Anthony Davis. This team is ridiculous. And just look at AD obliterate Shai's layup attempt. Or how about this play where he's just lurking at the free throw line, he spots Brooks going to the turnaround, and he just treats that shot with contempt. These were just 2 of his 4 blocks he had in about 20 minutes. And whether it's Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, or Bam Adebayo, this game proved one thing to me. We can cross Canada out from the list of teams that could beat USA. I know that sounds very reactionary for a practice match, and I love this Canadian team and the talent they have across the board, but having a center rotation of Kelly Olynyk and Dwight Powell versus Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid, I just don't believe you have a chance at winning. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but the size difference was absolutely the most apparent difference on the floor. Now, speaking of size, pause, LeBron James is still defying physics. I know he's always the topic of conversation when it comes to basketball in general, but can we just appreciate that at 39, he can still do things like this?
Nice slip and a fire. Pretty.
Did you see how quick that cut was? He left Dylan Brooks in the dust, and there are people trying to tell me he wouldn't have been able to play in the NFL. No, he wouldn't have just played, he would have dominated that league. Of course, we also had to get a signature chase down block from him as well.
Did not give up on it.
Anytime you see LeBron with space, it just reminds you that he is legitimately a cyborg. No one should be that fast, that strong, and that big. And the craziest part is, you could say all of those things about him right now, even though he's about 10 years out of his athletic prime. It's a joke. Now, what a lot of people seem to be missing when talking about this USA team is not everyone can be LeBron James, Steph Curry, or Kevin Durant. Players still have to play a role. Even those guys are playing a role, but that's why a guy like Tyrese Halliburton is useful off the bench, because he is a knockdown three-point shooter, he's an elite playmaker, and the ball doesn't stick in his hands. So if anyone on the team is hot whilst Hallie is on the floor, he's going to do his best to find that player. Jrue Holiday is another guy who proved in 2020 that he doesn't need the ball in his hands a ton to make a huge impact, which is why the coaching staff was so adamant in bringing him over. Which brings me to the newest addition for Team USA, Derek White. Guys, I don't know if we've been watching the same guy play, but Derek White is more than capable of playing a role for this USA team. Is he more talented or a better player than Jaylen Brown or Kyrie Irving? No. But are those two guys better scoring options than anyone in the USA starting lineup? The answer is also no, which means Derek White gives you a knockdown shooter, a great defender, and a good passer. Effectively, it's like having 2 Jrue Holidays out there, and as we saw with the Celtics, that makes you a very good team. Now, if you did make it all the way to the end of the video and want to see more content throughout the Olympics and then going into the NBA season, consider subscribing. Dropping a like on the video would be much appreciated. Have a very great day. Bye.